Ever notice how some days you're constantly hungry no matter how hard you try to be disciplined? It might not be your willpower at all, it could be your protein intake. Your body actually has a built-in system that pushes you to keep eating until it gets enough protein. So if your meals are low in it, you'll feel hungrier and snack more without even realizing why. In this video, I'll show you how protein quietly controls your appetite and how a few simple changes can help you feel full, satisfied, and naturally eat less. Your body keeps driving hunger until it gets enough protein, regardless of how many calories you've already eaten. And that's the core idea behind something called protein leverage. Imagine you start your day with low-protein foods like pastries or cereal. You may hit your calorie needs quickly, but your body still hasn't received enough protein to support muscle repair, hormones, and basic cellular function. So what happens? You stay hungry. You keep snacking. It feels like a lack of willpower, but it's actually your biology doing its job. On the other hand, when you prioritize protein early in the day, like eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein-rich smoothie, people often notice they naturally feel fuller for longer and eat less later without trying. This is why high-protein diets often lead to reduced calorie intake without strict restriction. A practical way to use this is to build each meal around a protein source first, then add carbs and fats around it. Think chicken with vegetables and rice, or tofu with stir-fried greens. Instead of asking how little you can eat, ask whether you've met your protein needs. That shift alone can make your appetite feel calmer and more predictable, without constantly fighting cravings. Low-protein diets often lead to overeating because your brain interprets protein deficiency as ongoing hunger, even if you've already eaten plenty of calories. This is where things get frustrating for many people trying to lose weight. You might think you're eating too much because of emotional eating or lack of discipline, but in reality, your brain is still signaling that something essential is missing. Protein provides amino acids that your body cannot store the same way it stores fat or carbohydrates, so it needs a steady intake. When that intake is too low, your hunger signals stay switched on. This can show up as constant snacking, cravings for savory or filling foods, or that feeling of never quite being satisfied after meals. You might notice that after eating a low-protein meal, like plain pasta or toast, you're hungry again much sooner compared to a meal with chicken, beans, or fish. A simple adjustment is to aim for a visible protein source in every meal and snack. For example, instead of just fruit, pair it with yogurt or nuts. Instead of chips, try something like boiled eggs or a protein-rich dip. These small changes align your eating with your biology, reducing the constant mental battle around food. Protein increases satiety hormones and reduces hunger hormones, making you feel full with less food, which is one of the main reasons it's so powerful for appetite control. When you eat protein, your body releases hormones like peptide YY and GLP-1 that signal fullness to your brain, while also lowering ghrelin, the hormone that drives hunger. This isn't just theory, you can feel it in real life. Compare how you feel after eating a protein-rich meal like grilled fish with vegetables versus a low-protein meal like a bag of chips. The protein meal tends to keep you satisfied for hours, while the chips often lead to more snacking shortly after. What's important here is that this process happens automatically. You don't have to think your way through hunger or rely on discipline. Your body is literally helping you regulate intake. To take advantage of this, aim to include a solid portion of protein in your meals, roughly a palm-sized amount for many people, though individual needs vary. Also, consider spreading protein throughout the day, instead of loading it all into one meal. This steady intake helps maintain consistent satiety signals and prevents extreme hunger swings that often lead to overeating. Relying on willpower alone fails because hunger is a biological signal, not just a psychological weakness, and treating it like a discipline problem sets you up for frustration. When your body is genuinely hungry, especially due to low protein intake, it activates powerful survival mechanisms designed to push you toward food. These signals can override rational thinking, making it incredibly difficult to stick to restrictive diets. That's why many people can follow a plan for a few days and then suddenly feel like they've lost control. It's not random, it's biology catching up. Instead of trying to ignore hunger, it's far more effective to work with it. By eating enough protein, you reduce the intensity of those hunger signals in the first place. Think of it like turning down the volume instead of trying to cover your ears. In practical terms, this means planning meals that are satisfying, not just low in calories. It also means recognizing that if you're constantly thinking about food, something in your diet may be off, often protein intake. Shifting away from a willpower mindset toward a nourishment mindset can make healthy eating feel more sustainable and less like a constant battle. Prioritizing protein at each meal naturally reduces calorie intake without strict dieting or restriction, which is why it's such a useful strategy for long-term weight management. When protein needs are met, your body tends to regulate how much you eat more effectively. You feel satisfied sooner and are less likely to go back for second portions or reach for snacks later. This doesn't require counting every calorie or cutting out entire food groups. Instead, it's about structuring your meals in a smarter way. For example, if you start a meal with a protein source like lean meat, fish, tofu, or legumes, you often find that you don't need as much of the higher calorie sides to feel full. Over time, this naturally lowers your total energy intake without feeling deprived. A helpful habit is to build your plate by choosing your protein first, then adding fiber-rich vegetables, and finally including carbs and fats as complements. You can still enjoy your favorite foods, but they're no longer the main driver of your appetite. This approach makes eating feel more intuitive and less restrictive, while still supporting weight loss or maintenance in a way that feels sustainable.